All right, welcome to the first board meeting of the year for the Rocky Mountain chapter. We are going ahead and getting started at 3:02. I've got a bunch of things I want to cover today coming out of CPC last week and a few other things. So we'll dive right into that. We'll start with the minutes. We did take a transcript last meeting because Robin was out. I tried running that through AI to create the minutes, and we all are not very structured in the way we talk, and so AI basically blew up in my face. It had no idea what was going on. So anyway, I did send out the minutes that I edited twice over because of AI, but we'll go through those real quick. So last month, we had a discussion on the use of funds and driving event attendance. We decided that vouchers toward future meetings is way too cumbersome to manage. Virtual events will continue to be free. In-person events will have a small fee. An idea was suggested we had some discussion around discounting or giving away ASTA memberships, but the history on that with ASTA is that it doesn't really drive renewals. And there's enough programs already around memberships, so we kind of nixed that idea. Moving on towards events, Robin had reached out to Rocky Mountaineer about a potential FAM around tech. Discussion was in progress as of last meeting, still is as of this meeting. Explora was rescheduled to January 7th. We talked about getting that promoted. The AI presentation, which was yesterday, Poseidon Adventures in February, Vacation Express in March. And then some ideas about the pipeline were discussed. So Trish was talking to Holland America Seabourn, Silversea, Hyatt, working with our photographer friend about doing a photography event when things warm up. Lisa suggested And Beyond. Rob mentioned Royal Caribbean, and Jennifer suggested a videographer she knows to do something similar to the photography workshop. Don also suggested mini showcases, multi-BDM events, particularly in Wyoming or Colorado Springs. And then Trish suggested, and we approved, doing chapter-funded door prizes whenever a supplier does not do a door prize or it's a business builder event. So roughly around $50. As a reminder, we have a $10,000 event budget for the year, so it kind of just comes out of that budget. The only update on Showcase last month was the save the date going out to suppliers, and the next committee meeting was yesterday. We went through the budget, which was also approved. So our total income for next year is forecasted at $33,900, profit forecasted around $10,000. That is after adjusting for new Showcase prices, expenses, adjusting the travel budget for ourselves and the Showcase team, and that was that. And then I did give updates on a meeting that I had the day before in preview of CPC around the Consumer Awareness Fund. We had a robust discussion around that. I have more general updates today. And just to call it out, Rob pointed out, and I'll point out again today, that the program will change over time. So we needed a place to start. And that there were more benefits for chapter officers coming, details to follow. At that point of today's agenda. Anything else for the minutes from last month?
I move the minutes be approved.
Any objections there?
A second.
Seeing no objections, unanimously approved. Awesome. All right. I want to jump right to Showcase updates because Sally is literally on a plane and going to take off at any point here. So Sally, is there anything you want to share from the Showcase side of things?
Yeah, we had a good meeting yesterday, and basically things are on track. The meeting is going to be in March. I think it's the first Thursday in March. We went to Thursdays instead of Tuesdays. And I think, did we decide 2 or 3 o'clock? It might have been 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock on the first Thursday in March. So the main thing that needs to be done that Jeff's on top of is getting that set up so that suppliers can register and getting the web pages up and so that all the information is there. The one thing that we did spend some time discussing is that National strongly suggests that all the suppliers be ASTA members. And basically, I think the committee supported that. And I thought it might help our overcrowding if, I think last year we had 8 or 9 non-ASTA members. And so hopefully some of those will join ASTA, particularly if they're they're going to more than one showcase. It'll totally make sense. So I think that's all I have to add. I think, Jeff, did you want to have more discussion about the ASTA membership in order to be a supplier?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up in our events section, but we
Okay.
can go ahead and discuss it now while we have you. So yes, at the CPC last week, it was strongly suggested, nigh on mandated, from Zane, that chapters should only be doing events with ASTA member suppliers. There's a few reasons for this. One is that when everybody's an ASTA member and there's a dispute, ASTA actually has a place to help resolve the dispute. Not that we have a lot of disputes, but it happens. In fact, there was a couple examples given where somebody goes, there's a non-member supplier at a trade show, local trade show, and then something went horribly wrong and ASTA could not help the advisor. At a broader level, it also kind of undermines ASTA nationally when suppliers cherry pick chapters but don't support the national effort. When you sign up to be a member supplier, you agree to a code of ethics, just like we do as advisors. And that was basically it. So there was some discussion. I think for us, it doesn't have a huge impact. We had a handful of non-member suppliers in each of the last couple of showcases that I think we would have no problem filling those spots. And with full-on supplier members, and then if it drives new membership, that's even better. This would also apply, Trish, to our chapter events and
Sure.
supplier members. So I'm opening the floor for any discussions, concerns, or thoughts on that, but my suggestion is that we affirm that decision as a chapter.
I totally agree. I like you said, I mean, just like with my agents, we belong to a consortium that has our back in case there's any challenges, and we're supporting the consortium. And same thing here, we're all supporting ASTA, and the suppliers should be supporting ASTA. And this is one of the benefits that they'll get by being an ASTA member, is the ability to participate with chapters.
Jeff, did you say they have to be a member to even participate? The travel advisors also?
No, not
Okay.
travel advisors, just suppliers.
Okay. Because then we give them incentive to join.
The other way I think about it is, if you want access to the best of the best advisors, come be a part of the trade association. Particularly with the VTA stuff coming, it's going to be even more so, which we'll talk about later. Rob, is there anything else from the board level you want to throw in on this topic?
I would just add in the reminder that it is possible to add in an ASTA membership cost. If a person is a non-supplier member, you can actually say, hey, we can offer you membership at the same time you're offering the show or event or whatever thing is. Main thing is try to encourage them to become an ASTA member if they're not, for the reasons that have been mentioned.
And we do want to drive them through the regular process, because there's the whole code of ethics agreement and stuff that we can't negotiate on National's behalf for that stuff. So either way we run it. I think the gray area of this, by the way, is multi-line reps, multi-line BDMs. The guidance is they need to be members too. Even if the brands they represent are ASTA members, they themselves also need to be a member. there's not really a membership category for that. So national will figure that out, but we'll have to probably maybe take that on a case by case basis. But is there any objection to affirming that as our policy at the chapter level in support of national? Okay. Stamped as policy then. Sally, you okay with all that?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
And that's
as
all I
always-
had on the showcase. Yeah. So
Cool.
on to other things.
Okay. As always, I think we should take it as a case by case basis. There are a couple of outliers, including our showcase supplier helper, Nicole. I have not been able to find Miraval in our supplier list, but I reached out to Nicole to help figure that out and get her signed up. Multi-line reps as well. Let's have this as our policy, but if we need to make exceptions, we can discuss it as a board when that time comes.
Yeah, next month's event is with Poseidon Expeditions, and I don't know if they're ASTA members. I don't know off the top of my head, so I'll have to check.
It's scheduled. Let's let it ride. As
Okay.
it was already scheduled. That's my thought. Moving forward, we'll just have to drive them towards being members.
Okay.
And then Trish or Sally or Darlene, if you encounter suppliers that aren't members and they want to know more, feel free to point them at me and I will point them at the right person at HQ and convince them to join us. It is
Good.
not that expensive to be a supplier member. So, okie doke. Thank you, Sally. Good luck on your flight. We have a staff change that I would like to. I thought we built this into our bylaws, and I guess Peter made me take them out. But I would like the board to vote to affirm our new vice president. As soon as you picked up the phone, I said, "Hello, Madam Vice President." So, which I've been looking forward to saying for a minute. So anyway, I would like to have the board vote to affirm our new vice president choice here. As mentioned in my email, Yudi is amazing, and as we all know, her main focus as vice president is member engagement overall, and mission oriented is Wyoming. So Yudi and I will meet soon to discuss Wyoming strategy and bring that back to the board next month. But being chair, I can't table motions, so can I have a motion?
I move to appoint Yuri as VP.
I second that motion.
Any objection? Not that I expected any, or we'd be having another conversation. Anyway, welcome Yudi to the board again as vice president, and not only our first board member from Wyoming, our first vice president from Wyoming. This is just great. We're so happy to have you as board.
Yay, Yudi.
And even if you were from Colorado, we would love you just as much. Just
Yes, it's not just that you're from Wyoming. I'm just very happy that you.
It helps a lot.
Okay, so welcome, Yudi. Let's move on to finance. Jen, what you got for us this month?
So we have a healthy account balance around 39K at this point. We did go ahead and make the deposit for the showcase, which was around 1,600 something. But so I'm working on the year-end reporting for ASTA. The bulk of it's due in February, the end of February. So I'll be working on those reports. And I think now that I've done it a couple times, it should be pretty straightforward. And we have our budget approved, so we're good there. And I think that's about it.
Very cool. And you saw that, yes, most of it's in February, but the 1099 is due end of next week.
Yeah, but we haven't started paying any contractors. So I didn't do any 1099s last year. I don't think that should change.
For 2024, what about, do we need to do one for Lowry or?
I think Lowry falls under a corporation. It depends on their structure, but Robbie, you didn't seem to do one for Lowry when I took over the
No.
book from you. Yeah,
No,
it
it
depends on their structure.
Part of a college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're part of a college. And I've got to run, so thank you all. We're
Thank you,
taking
Sally.
off.
Safe
Hopefully I'll get
travels,
to
Safe travel, Sally.
Safe
Thank-
flight, Sally.
Thanks, Sally.
And we didn't pay Chris more than 600 last year, right?
No, we only paid him a couple hundred, so he's good.
Cool. Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Any questions for Jennifer? Rob?
One reminder, Jeff, which you may bring up in a moment here, is when you send in the financials, make sure that all the board members are listed. For
Yes.
the reason that Jeff will probably discuss in a moment. So
Just to hit on that, they're taking the formal list of chapter officers from that filing moving forward. There's no longer like a separate form we have to fill out. And I'll cover this in a second as well. But everybody on the board except Skylar and John are considered chapter officers. That's the way we structure our bylaws. And that'll be really useful here when we get to that point in a minute. Skylar and John, you're not simply because you're not travel advisors. Advisors have to be travel advisors. Okay. Events. Rich, why don't you take us through the events calendar, and then when you're done, we'll talk about the Travel and Adventure Show.
Well, you mentioned earlier, nothing has really changed from that. We've got Poseidon Expeditions in February, Vacation Express in March, and then I've got quite a handful of people I'm talking to April and beyond. I haven't really worked very hard on that since I feel kind of set, but I do want to get the year planned out. So I'll get back to working on that now that we're past the holidays.
Great.
And I do think that offering the gift cards has helped get people to attend, because we had 17 signed up for the Explora journeys, and then we had 20 signed up for yesterday's event, and we're getting about 5 less than that, I think, for each event. So I think the little gift card incentive is helping get people to attend more. So that's good. Although it's our board that keeps winning.
It's not just our board, it's Lisa. Lisa has now won both of them.
which I
Lisa's
asked her about
lucky. She needs
yesterday.
to go to Vegas. Anyway.
At some point, we're going to run into problems with that, like
Yeah.
ethical issues.
I'm still waiting for both of them though.
Oh yeah, we got to get those to you.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to
Chris,
ask you, Jeff, is that you or me?
That's you.
Me? I have to do that.
It could be you, and then reimburse Jennifer. Jennifer, I don't know if you want to take on sending a gift card out using our credit card. I don't really care how we do it. You're muted, Jennifer.
Is there a specific gift card?
We said Amazon. Lisa, what do you want since you won both?
Amazon is fine.
So she gets $100 Amazon now. We could just keep a running tally.
I'll just go into Amazon with our card.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And then you just send it via email, right, Lisa? I
Yeah,
don't
you
need-
can just email it to me. That's the easiest. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about mailing it and all that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go do that.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Jennifer.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Trish. Both events were fantastic, by the way. Did a great job with them. I really enjoyed both of them. So, good work
Thanks.
there.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't know why I have headphones in. I turned my head. Okay, Travel and Adventure Show. So the Travel and Adventure Show, we did get confirmation since our last meeting that ASTA has procured a table. And however, it is the weekend before River Cruise Expo. So I didn't even bother asking if they were going to send anybody, because I just knew the answer, because the entire staff is going to be in Vienna for all intents and purposes. And anyone who's not in Vienna is probably not somebody who has. So Robin and I were talking about it a little bit, and We do have a volunteer form on our website, and people have filled it out a few times. 2 of them offered to staff the table at Taz, so that's cool. We just need somebody who's not going to River Cruise Expo on our board to coordinate it. Don't have to be there the whole time, but to coordinate it. I'm going to River Cruise Expo, and so I don't want to do it because that weekend's going to be insane. And so, Robin, you had volunteered by email, wanted to confirm that with you, and if so, we can work out what needs to happen from that forward.
Sorry, I was
Yeah,
muted.
Rob and I are going to River Cruise Expo too. So
I'm not going to River Cruise Expo this year, so I can be there all day Saturday. Sunday is a little bit harder, but if I need to be, I can be. But I'm happy to help coordinate all that.
Sweet.
I'm flying
Anyway.
out on Sunday, going to Dallas for a training, but I could help on Saturday.
Cool. Robin, did I send you those 2 names that I already signed up?
I don't remember.
I thought I did, but I'll resend them.
Okay. Thanks.
So I would say that in our next newsletter, in our February newsletter, we do another call for volunteers for that. We are going to get material from HQ. I'm going to follow up with Michael Shoddy on that. They're going to design a couple of things, probably reuse what we did last year. I'll also work with them to do some talking points. So I found, because I worked with Debbie, Lisa, and Rob on it last year, and I found like we had 2 basic scripts, right? One for consumers and then one for potential advisors. And I think if we just kind of outline a few basic things to point out for each audience, and then like which flyer to give, we're good to go. And it should be fairly straightforward. So we'll make flyers for the trade show. We talked about that yesterday at the supplier showcase meeting. We'll update and print out consumer flyers. We designed them last year, but we'll update them for verification and VTAs. I'll get some stuff going from HQ. And then at some point, Robin, I'll just meet up with you and hand you the tablecloth and all that stuff.
Perfect.
Cool. Awesome. That's easy. Anything else on events?
Not from me.
Speaking of events in general, Darlene here, and I saw your husband behind you, but he's not there now. As if anyone doesn't know, Darlene's husband does dye sublimation printing. They have made name tags for Robin, for Trish, for Yudi, and probably for me at some point here when I get my act together on that. And has offered to do them for the board as well. We've talked about this off and on. They are $6.50 each, so it'd be about $65. It is not in our budget, so I just wanted to throw it out and see if any objection from the board to spend $65 on getting some name tags done up. Now that we have a solid board that's not changing, or you're going to make me cry. So
are we going to have the names on them or just the position?
I was thinking the names
Okay.
and position with Rocky Mountain Chapter. Nice little tchotchke.
All right. That means you all are committed for an extended period of time now.
You see why I was waiting?
Or you have to pay $6.50, right? $6.50 the
Oh,
There's an
as
exit
part of
fee
your
if you leave the
retirement on the
board.
board.
I'll call for unanimous
And I vote
consent
to
for that.
approve.
Any objection? All right, cool. Darlene, if you wouldn't mind, if there's any template or something I need, but I've got all the original artwork, and I can just throw these together and send them off to you.
Yeah,
Let me
you
know.
could just send me the JPEG files if you want, and I can put something together for you and run it by you before we print them. We could do it whichever way you want.
Okay. I've got our official fonts, colors, logos, so if you need it as a JPEG, I can do that. That's easy.
Okay. No, yeah, JPEG is good, or PNG.
Or PNG. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm invited to the board meeting, but am I part of the board?
At present, no. If you would like to be a part of the board, let's do that before they send off the financial paperwork, so I don't have to update the stuff. Let's have a talk. You want to be a part of the board? I'd be more than happy to bring you on as an officer at large.
Okay, we can talk.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's schedule a meeting.
Okay. I just wasn't sure why I was being invited to the meeting.
Sally assigned you to it.
You're awesome.
Thank
Sally's
you.
like, Darlene's going to this now. Okay.
Okay.
And like I said yesterday, I invite Heather Travis too from the showcase team, but she's always the first decline I get. So, anyway.
Okay.
Okay. So the name badges are good. Showcase finance. All right. Let's get into the good stuff. It's good. But I was hoping to get a copy of the deck from CPC, and I sent a bunch of emails to HQ today, and they ignored all of them. That's fine. So I'm going to go through my notes with you all, and then when the deck comes from headquarters, I will send it out. But last week was the Chapter President's Council. It was the most low drama CPC I think we've had in a while. Although I mentioned that to somebody, and they were like, "Yeah, you didn't see what was going on behind the scenes." But generally speaking, it was a very good meeting, and I think that there's a lot of cool stuff, happening in ASTA, doing some good stuff. Let's start though with the fun part: board member benefits. So they are instituting a couple of different programs across the board. I believe the budget has been approved, but so they're going to be doing things for like new chapters, like startup kits. They're going to be doing like replenished material for existing chapters. So stuff if we need it, like banners or whatever. We're pretty much good on all of that. We are going to have a chapter level Canva subscription. So we'll have access to using Canva so that anyone who wants to do stuff will have it, and it comes preloaded with fonts and colors and imagery and things like that. Our Canva person, it's going to be tied to our events email address, but we'll just share a login. So our events email address is Trish. Trish uses Canva, so he's going to test it out when HQ is ready for us to test it out. It's not quite ready yet. And then of course there's a discount that we can give our members during our trade show and other times. But the other piece of this is that they are going to be offering officers of the chapter boards additional benefits. So the nice thing is the way we have structured our chapter is that basically we have that position of officer at large. So the officers officially are president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, YPS coordinator, YPS lead, which we don't have right now. I think those are the standard required ones. Then there's also advocacy or ASTAPAC fundraiser, events chair. In our case, we also have showcase chair. We have grouped all of those as officers at large. So basically, in order to be an officer on a chapter board, you have to be a travel advisor member, either as an IC, employee, or travel agency. And then suppliers come on technically as committee members. So basically everybody except Skylar and John are eligible to be officers. And the way we wrote it, or the way we structured it when we did our bylaws, was everybody's an officer. So everybody gets this if you're an officer. So Darlene, let's talk. 20% off the Travel Advisor Conference, 50% off your membership, 50% off your VTA. So if you want to become a VTA, if you're not already, it'll be 50% off the cost of that. So that'll take it from about $400 to $200. And I believe that accounts towards renewals of VTA as well. 50% off the Premium Business Summit, which is the big fancy summit that happens annually, usually in the fall. Last year it was on Virgin Voyages, and this year it's going to be in Portland. They dig into some crazy deep topics. Usually those are like the big travel companies that go to that, but as chapter officers, we're able to go because if you're really forward thinking, there's some pretty good conversations that happen there. So 50% off that, which I think is worth like $400. It's normally like an $800 conference, something like that. Might be totally wrong on those numbers, so don't quote me that. We'll have access to early registration for ASTA events. So Caribbean Showcase, River Cruise Expo, they will open it up to chapter officers to register first because those things sell out really, really quickly. And then an ASTA logo gift for everybody. So some kind of swag with ASTA's logo on it. No idea what that's going to be yet. It could be like a box of tissues, or it could be something really nice. We don't know yet. But so that is the board member benefits that will begin this year for designated officers. Any questions there? I don't know how any of this works, by the way. I reached out today to HQ for Trish because her membership expires at the end of this month. So I was like, hey, can we push this through? So as soon as we figure out how it actually works, I will let you all know. I don't think they know yet. All right. I talked about chapter support, so they're putting a stronger emphasis on supporting the chapters with stuff. By the way, for like marketing, there's a whole shared drive folder that we have of like tons of stuff from ASTA, from a new slide deck, which I've copied and transformed into our shared drive, like an official ASTA slide deck now, with new look and feel. And the marketing team is doing a phenomenal job. Anything we need, we can get from them. We do pretty good on our own, but anything we need, they'll help produce. They even have a folder of Zane's comments, like all of Zane's speeches, which can be pretty useful because Michael Shoddy is a great writer. You thought Zane was writing his own stuff. It's not. It's all Shoddy. But Shoddy's a great writer, and so all of Zane's speeches from all sorts of places are available to that as well. I don't know how to get other people access to it, but let me know if you're interested, and I'll ask Shoddy to add you. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So stuff like that, and the Canva thing, and more will come. So they're doing a good job there. From an expectations standpoint, let me just go through the standard expectations. These have not changed really. But the expectations for chapters to be successful are all positions filled, which we're good on. YPS is suggested, but we're not dinged for it. Several of us chapter presidents are like, when HQ figures out what YPS is, then we can recruit for it. But until that point, we don't know what we're recruiting for. But that's a different conversation. All positions filled. Treasurer watches the training, the annual training for treasurers and submits the reports. Jennifer does a fantastic job on that. We send the newsletter out. We meet at least 4 times a year. Again, we're hitting all of those things. We have to fill out some forms. So we have to put our events on the calendar, which we will make more. We will process this ties better so that Trish can do it as well as I can do it. We are up to date right there, by the way, on that. That somebody from our chapter goes to CPC meetings and calls. So if I can't go, we will designate somebody else to go. For now, that is like easily covered because Rob and Lisa always go. Rob goes as original director, so easy peasy. And we promote ASTA stuff. So, when ASTA does stuff nationally, we promote that at the chapter level. Pretty straightforward. That's what they expect of us. Now, I mentioned last month that there is and I can't remember the official name for it. That's why I was really hoping to get the deck from CPC. But
Ambassador program.
The ambassador program, yes.
And if I can pause you for one moment on the YPS. So as a reminder, the YPS can also be another officer.
Yeah, it counts as an officer.
It doesn't have to, well, what I'm saying is remember that it does not need to be a separate person. So anyone who's sitting here now who is at YPS age could also be considered a YPS person. It's a dual role, like the secretary and vice president can be one person on a board.
And the YPS age is 45 or under.
Correct.
Must be and since it's an officer role, it kind of needs to be a travel advisor. I'm not taking that on. If anyone else is under 45 and you're interested, let's talk. But I think there's a few of us that have been talking about this every time we meet, and we really want to see more happen with YPS. There's a couple of chapters that do it really well, but if you know any advisors out there that are 45 or under and are interested in, or could be made interested in, helping to build up the younger demographic of our industry, let's have that conversation, because I would like this role to be filled again. And we'll figure out what it means for us. By the way, we still ask this question on all of our sign-up forms. If you're under 45 and are interested in YPS, check here. So we have like a rough list, small, but it's there, of people who would be interested in YPS-like activities, but we just need to find somebody and really have a passion for it. As you know, we did have Sheila in this role, but she left the industry. So, John.
Yeah, so I put this in the chat as well. When I was out at ASTA Seattle's event in December, they had a dedicated YPS kind of group meetup as part of the event. And they had a group of about probably 10 or so folks who met up at their trade show. And so I think for the eventual person that's taking up this role for our chapter, it would be great if any of us could link them up with more active YPS chapters in other ASTA regions, so that they would have a go-to for discussions on events and things and how to get together and how to communicate, that sort of thing. So I was really encouraged seeing that while I was out there.
Awesome. I know New York does a pretty good job with those as well.
I don't think
not
it's
a lot of
problem though.
What's that?
I don't think we're the only ones that don't have it, because when I was at Ledge Day,
No.
they were having a YPS sponsored karaoke, and I'm all about karaoke, but I was too old. But then at the last second, they opened it up to everybody, which led me to believe there was not a strong YPS presence at Ledge Day.
There isn't. And there is technically, or was, a national YPS something, but I don't believe they stuck with it. Pre-pandemic, it was Alvin who's now part of HQ. HQ just hired him. And I've spoken with the person who is supposed to be the new president, but I don't think they're doing anything with it. So it's going to be grassroots, like John mentioned, getting the chapters to go together and figure out what YPS needs for the industry and bringing HQ along. So we'll figure it out. I am down for finding somebody. 100%.
Maybe it'll be one of our Wyoming peeps.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Okie doke. So the last piece of expectation or thing around some of the CPC review, and I've got more topics. So sorry if it seems like I'm going quickly, but is the ambassador program. More details to come on this, but the ambassador program is basically those chapters that hit 3 pieces of criteria, but they are considered the best performing chapters in ASTA, and officers who are part of those chapters will be invited to special things. PBD. Those 3 criteria are hitting your ASTA PAC goal, 5% of your end of year chapter funds. So for us, that's from last year. And 5% of your funds go to the advocacy fund, and 5% of chapter funds go to the consumer awareness fund. Those are the 3 criteria for this year. I think it was me or Tara, asked the question about non-financial criterion for being a part of the ambassador program. The answer is they would like to. They had to start somewhere. We'll talk about it next year. So for now, these are the 3 criteria. I don't know what that means in immediate terms. We are waiting for 2 things from HQ, our chapter report card on how we're doing based on last year, and those numbers, which will be taken from our financials, which are due at the end of February. So we'll go like that. As far as the ASTAPAC goal, officially all chapters are set at $1,000. And then over the course of the last year and a half, I just kind of kept raising that number with each headquarters because, frankly, the Hales donate a lot to ASTAPAC. And so I like having the goal be higher than where you're at to try and drive people towards donating. The philosophy on that might change a little bit because then it looks like we're never hitting our goal. But we hit our goal. So we'll just work out what that actually means for the ambassador program. But officially, our goal is $1,000. It was reset at the beginning of the year, and it's basically a 2-year cycle. Yes, Rob?
I'm sorry, what did you say? 5,000?
1,000 right now.
Okay, so we're at the chapter minimum, the standard.
They reset all the chapters to $1,000 a couple weeks ago. Yes, Rob?
So Robin, chapters reset for all chapters, as Jeff said, beginning of this year, because it goes on a 2-year cycle because of the election cycle for Congress. And since we have a new Congress, started 2 years this year. And the $1,000, Jeff, for clarification for you, will actually remain the same. So if a chapter raises the dues, that's over and above what the ASTA minimum is of 1,000. So you will have met your 1,000, and so it doesn't keep going up.
That's
based
great.
on what you reset.
I got a funny message from Laura Vogel before CPC, and I just forgot to talk to her about it, but he didn't realize that's what I was doing with the number. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what that meant, so thanks for clarifying that. Yep. Okay, so those are the highlights. Excuse me. I want to share some other quick numbers, and then we'll talk about the Consumer Awareness Fund. So, skipping down on my notes here, membership. Our membership has increased 37% since 2019, and our target, this is national level, by the way, our target is a 5% increase this year. We currently have 9,175 dues-paying members. That includes companies and ICs and suppliers. From a share breakdown, this is roughly the same as last year, but 65% of dues-paying members are independent contractors. So that is 5,970. 16% are basic agencies. So that's basically travel agencies that make less than a certain number that I forget off the top of my head. So that's roughly 1,500. My dog is ripping out all my power supply, so you must be mad at me. And then 2% of our members are premium members. Those are premium businesses or travel agencies that make a lot of money. The remainder is made up of suppliers, host agencies, travel schools, consortia, and FTPs. Revenue, though, again, this is basically the same as last year when I shared these numbers. 23% of our national revenue, membership revenue, comes from premium agencies. So 2% of members give us 23% of the revenue. 33% is from ICs, so kind of the inverse. 65% of our members give us 33% of our revenue. Basic agencies are 18% and 19% is from suppliers. So that's revenue. So you can kind of see, like, it doesn't really mean anything like to our day-to-day, but it's interesting. Like premium agencies, there's very, very few of them, but they do a lot for ASTA. Which is why if you ever wonder why we have things like the Premium Business Summit and Travel Masters and those really super special exclusive events, it's to make our many people really happy, basically. We did meet our goal for ICs in 2024, and our goals for the end of 2025 is 5% growth in membership, as I mentioned, 25,000 active members. So that includes employees of agencies who automatically get membership, 25,000 total members, and 2,500 VTAs, which will be up from 800. So there's going to be a big push on VTAs this year. That's membership. Advocacy, the focus this year is basically reintroducing That is the name of the game for 2025. We're going to be with new administration, old, new, old, old, new, however you want to look at it. So new administration, 60 new members of Congress, new power dynamics in DC, new Congress. So all the bills that were not passed are dead and have to be reintroduced. So the focus from advocacy from Jesse and her team is going to be revisiting the rules from the DOT, which we generally didn't like a lot of them, reintroducing the bills on ACPAC modernization so that ticket agents have a seat on the ACPAC board. I can never remember what it means. It's the DOT like industry board basically, and airlines are on there and other people are on there, but ticket agents are not on there. So we want to be on there. The Flight Refunds Fairness Act will be reintroduced, or we're trying to get it reintroduced, and I think it will be. That is the issue of guaranteeing that travel agents who are merchants of record will get their refunds from the airlines in a timely fashion, and then extending the amount of time that we can give it to our customers. Right now, there's a loophole in the system where consumers are due their refund from canceled flights within 7 days, but there's no rule if we're the merchant of record telling airlines they have to give us the money within an appropriate amount of time. So closing that loophole. The 2017 Tax Cut Jobs Act, whatever that was, pandemic, or actually that was pre-pandemic. But anyway, that expires at the end of this year. There could be impacts to independent contractors. So ASTA headquarters is figuring out that, and then building relationships with these 60 new members of Congress who have never heard of us before. So year of reintroduction, that is the goal. That is the objective. There are state level things though. So last year, and I didn't even know this was happening. Last year, there were 2 successful fights against state tax initiatives that would have harmed travel agencies. Basically, in all states, we have an exemption from having to charge sales tax, particularly on like our service fees or even our commissions. So in Nebraska and Louisiana last year, they tried to get rid of that because everybody's scrambling for cash. ASTA was able to fight that off. Same thing they did in Kentucky a few years ago. Looking into the year ahead, Virginia, Missouri are both looking to potentially do that, the same thing, and Nebraska might try again. So we have state level initiatives going on. They have asked for support from chapters. Basically, there's now going to be a monthly update that comes from HQ, and we are asked to share that with our membership. So it was in the newsletter. Lisa is our advocacy coordinator. So Lisa, did you get a copy of that from Laura last month?
No, I don't think so. I get Jesse's emails, but I don't think I got anything from Laura.
Okay. I'll make sure you get a copy of it.
Okay. Yeah, that would be helpful.
Because I think Laura's replaces Jesse's. And Laura's can also be shared with people. Jesse's was like very inside baseball. She said, don't share it with people. So yeah, Laura's we can basically turn around and share now. So it was in his newsletter last week. I'll make sure Lisa gets it, and then Lisa can distill it for our newsletter, put it on Facebook, whatever. But yeah, so that's that. That's pretty cool. And there is a chapter challenge going on. It started June 1st of last year and will run to May 1st of this year. Basically, the top 5 chapters who raise most money for ASTAPAC and the Advocacy Fund are going to be announced and celebrated at the Advocacy Dinner. Yeah, Rob.
One other thing to add with advocacy, I also forget what the name of the position is, but there has been a position for the United States in terms of inbound travel, like promoting travel to the United States, which has been in the congressional budget for the last several years, but they never selected a person for that position. So that's going to be pushed again as well with the new Congress to get somebody actually in that role.
Yes.
Because the funding is already there, they just need the person. So
You are correct. That did not make it in my notes from last week. DOT? Is that the vice secretary or something? Deputy secretary?
It's actually a person he oversees, like promoting inbound travel to the United States. I forget what the name of the position is. So
I think it's Deputy Secretary for Tourism, and I think it's actually
yeah, I
Department
think it's like that.
of
So
Commerce. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yes, thank you for pointing that out. Because that was so chapter challenge. We do really well in general with our ASTA PAC fundraising. We do really well in our ASTA PAC fundraising because of the Hales. I'm just going to call it for what it is. The Hales have done a continual, excellent donation to ASTA PAC for many years now, and we are immensely grateful for the credit that our chapter gets because of you too. Last year, we also had donations from Udi and Robin. And am I missing anybody? Because they cleared my list on me. But I know that Udi and Robin gave. Jennifer sent in our check from the chapter, so she got credit for it too. I would like to challenge that every officer of this board donate to ASTA PAC using personal funds. I think that there's a lot going on that's very important. And new Congress, new year, new administration, lots of crazy stuff. So I'm going to add this to our monthly agenda of where we're at with ASTA PAC. Like I said, it got reset, and I just didn't want us to be at zero for CPC, so I gave my January donation before CPC. But so let's review this. This is our team page, and I don't think we will have no problem hitting our goals for ASTA PAC, but I want to set a good example. It does not have to be much. It could be $5, be $1. But if I would like to challenge all of us in leadership to donate towards ASTA PAC using personal funds, using your personal credit card, because then it can go to ASTA PAC. If you use your corporate credit card or you donate on behalf of a company, it goes to the advocacy fund, which is also very important. That pays for lobbyists that save sales tax issues in Louisiana. But yes, that's my challenge to the board. Lisa, you were first, and then Rob.
You actually said what I was going to say about use your personal credit card and not your business credit card. Just reiterating that then it does go to ASTA PAC, and then you'll show up on this page. So Rob and I need to get going. So our names are on there too.
And Rob.
So one, I want to mention from a leadership perspective, it's important for board members to contribute, because if the ASTA PAC chairperson is calling out to our membership, the membership is going to be looking at this page, and if they see, okay, we as the board have not contributed anything, their first question is, well, why should I? Because they're actually following the leader, if you will. So as Jeff said, it doesn't need to be a huge amount, but if you could contribute anything, that would be appreciated, because that does help drive other donations into the fund. And you will be seeing our funding going up as well. Last year got wonky in terms of amounts they were showing, so I reached out to Jesse and said, we're resetting on January 1st. And then January so far has been a whirlwind of a month, but we will be starting back at our normal pattern. Just to make you aware, Jeff, that you'll probably need to raise that. So
Yes, Lisa.
The other thing I want to say, because sometimes people ask this, ASTA supports Congress people who support us, the travel industry. So they do support both Republicans and Democrats. It's not all Republicans. It's not all Democrats. So they just support people who are for the travel industry and for us. So I mean, I know, so, I'm not trying to get into, I mean, I can't help but get into politics with this conversation, but I'm not trying to say, like, we all know that there's people we maybe don't like or whatever personally, but ASTA is trying to be fair, and they're just going for the Congress people who, like I said, who are champions for us and for the travel industry. So I just will leave it at that.
If you have questions or concerns or anything around AstaPac, how the money is spent, you've noticed I haven't said hard dollars and soft dollars because I hate that terminology. But if you have any questions about it, reach out to Lisa, who is our advocacy chair, or myself, or Rob, and we can talk through it. It is a nonpartisan. What it does, I'm just going to throw this out there, and then we'll get off advocacy because I have other things to talk about. But the ASTA PAC, when we donate to candidates, it gets us a seat at the table. If you are not sitting at the table, you are on the table and being eaten. So that's why it's important. And again, my challenge is that all members of this board donate something. It does not have to be a lot. I just want to see names on that list. I tend to give based on commission. So when I have commissions come in, then I actually have money to give. So yes, so it's okay. Whatever your pattern is perfectly fine. We'll go from there. All right. We'll do more on advocacy this year. We have to see a little bit how the dust settles over the next 100 days. What's going to happen? You've seen the news, and you've seen what ASTA is telling the administration what we want. So we'll just have to see how that all goes and what gets activated. VTA and membership and marketing. So this is the fun stuff. VTA, Verified Travel Advisor. You've seen it. I won't go through the criteria. Again, call me if you want to talk about it. But basically, the VTA program has been completely redesigned for a couple of reasons. I've said this to a lot of people when I explain, when I answer the travel advisors still exist question. Our industry is really easy to get into. It's really easy to start. It's really hard to succeed. It should be harder to get into. That's ASTA's thought. But what we do not support is a national licensure program. And the reason we don't support like national or even state licensures is because then we lose control of it and it ends up in a government bureaucracy, and you can still game that really easily. So that is where VTA is designed now to fill that gap. That it says this person is a ASTA Verified Travel Advisor. They have experience, they agree to ethics, they have knowledge, and they will not leave you stranded or steal all your money. The first version of VTA didn't take into account experience, which is why there's new criteria for VTA. Today we have 800 VTAs. The goal is 2,500 by the end of the year. They're in parallel to the new VTA program. You may have seen Verivacation. So verivacation.com is, if you've been with ASTA for a while, you remember Travel Sense. It was like a find a travel advisor website where all of our members were in there. But it was not actually that valuable to anybody, us or consumers. So Verivacation is designed to fix the problems from those days. Only VTAs are eligible to be in Verivacation. Verification, it is very much version 1 right now. There were some great questions thrown at HQ last week about the future of verification, and they're going to be doing good stuff with it. So there's more iterations coming. So Verification is the new site. If you are a VTA, you can be on that site, fill out your profile, choose your specialties, all that fun stuff. If you're reviewed on asta.org, by the way, your star reviews show up on. What ASTA has never done is paid advertising in any meaningful, sustained way. So we focus entirely on publicity. As Erica and Zane like to say, publicity is what you pray for, and advertising is what you pay for. We've never paid for it. We didn't have the skills. We didn't have the money. We didn't have the stuff to make paid advertising a reality. So we've only ever relied on publicity, which Erica does a fantastic job. Erica is our director of communications at headquarters. She does an amazing job of getting us publicity. What is happening now as they get ready to fully and formally launch verification is paid advertising. The national board has basically committed, I think this number's right, $500,000 over the next 2 years. 100,000 of that will go towards content creation, and they have wrapped filming on 2 commercials. So they're going to be kind of funny. I think they gave us a preview of them. They're going to be pretty good. So they're going to be, or they showed us pictures from them. So there's going to be 2 commercials that are now wrapped production or in post-production. Those will be like released during the Super Bowl. We have not bought Super Bowl advertising. They are going to be online. But basically during the Super Bowl, our new ads will go out, and these ads are explicitly targeted towards consumers who hire a travel advisor and pointing towards verification. So $100,000 goes towards content production, and then $200,000 this year and next year goes towards social media buys, digital ads. There's some other interesting stats with this. Travel industry as a whole spends $8 billion a year on digital ad spend. $1 billion of that is only from airlines and cruise lines. So our little trade association with 9,000 members cannot match an $8 billion or $500 million ad spend online alone. That's not even counting like television. So what do we do? The initial consumer advocate, I'm going to get this wrong for now until I die. The Consumer Awareness Fund is designed to help fill that gap. The initial funding is coming from the national board. They are asking the chapter network to help contribute to that so that we get our message out to consumers. The ad spend, and so they're asking for 5% of net margin for the year. That's where that comes from that we talked about. If you can't, my headphones are starting to die, so if you end up not being able to hear me, let me know. It's going to be super important. The way they're going to spend that money is they're going to be doing it social media ads targeted by travel intent. So there's not going to be geographic restrictions. So even though we're going to be giving probably a good chunk to that fund, if we agree to, which I think we should, then it's not that we get like a proportional share of within the Denver market. They're not even taking geography into account. They're trying to drive consumers to be aware that travel agents, travel advisors are still a thing. We do save vacations. We help you not have to be saved in the first place, all of that fun stuff. So I think it's good. And I think it's kind of David and Goliath in terms of ad spend, but the other way to think about this is, yes, our chapter makes good money. We've got, what did you say, 39,000 as of right now, Jen? We have a good chunk of funds. Our little 39,000 or $10,000 a year extra in profit every year, even if we spend that locally to drive traffic, it is not going to pay for ads. It is not going to pay for reach. It's not going to go very far. But all the chapters working together on the Consumer Awareness Fund and doing it together is at least a bigger splash against the travel suppliers who are spending billions. And we're talking the major suppliers here, right? The Vikings, who just went public, the airlines, the major cruise lines. They're spending billions to get direct bookings. They're not driving traffic. They always say, like, call your travel advisor, but really call this big number or go on our website. So they're not spending to drive traffic to us. We need to be our own advocates for that, and that's where this Consumer Awareness Fund comes into play. But starting with $500,000, chapters will donate. And generally speaking, I think their mechanics need to be worked out. We had a really good conversation on this last month, that some of the mechanics don't make sense. But we'll work that out with headquarters. Yeah. Like I said, CPC meetings are fun. So we'll work out the mechanics year over year, but we can do, that's the whole point of being a part of ASTA. We can do more together than any one advisor, any one chapter can do solo. So we won't take a vote on this month, but generally speaking, I think it's a good thing. I was convinced. I am not being quiet about the things that need to be adjusted a little bit. And I have a good relationship with certain people at headquarters where I can ask really hard questions and they give me really good answers. So we're going to keep working on it. Yes, Rob.
So a couple of things to add to this. One, Robin, if you are making the minutes, when you're writing about when the ad is coming out, please write the big football game, not the Super Bowl, because I guess there are legalities that the Super Bowl name cannot be used because it's copywritten. So you can use the big football game, according to the NFL.
That is the most NFL thing I've heard today.
Also, so originally when I first heard this, as Jeff mentioned, they're going to be the two 5% asks, which is 5% for advocacy, 5% for this consumer awareness. Back in the day, many, many years ago, they used to do a much larger ask of chapters, which was so contentious that they ended up dropping it because it was so always argumentative. The chapter president meetings you see today are very calm and subdued compared to what used to happen.
So I've heard.
So the ask really is not that large. First, I had some hesitations on it. If you look at the numbers that Jennifer gave today, 5% is $1,950. So if you round it up to $2,000 per pot, that would be a $4,000 ask, which still leaves, if we have 39 in the bank, would leave $35,000 in the bank, which I can tell you, compared to other chapters, is exceptionally well. Particularly with trade shows coming up in the future and other things, which replenishes it. That would be helpful as well. But I would keep in mind also, as Jeff mentioned, that this is a work in progress, and it does benefit. Together, we're much stronger than individually in terms of chapters doing this. And it will, as time goes on, become more and more loud in terms of the advertisements to go out to the consumers, so it could help all of our businesses. If you think of past commercials like the real estate, the got milk commercial that the Milk Commission used to do, think along those lines. It makes the awareness of the consumer, okay, why use a travel advisor? Erica right now is actually down in Louisiana doing 2 commercials for this, for the big football game, which is one going to be fraudster type travel advisor, and okay, why you want to avoid this type of person, to how to avoid that type of person. Another one was second one was kind of fun in terms of asking AI in terms of what can you do in Louisiana for vacation, and the AI response was, well, you could always go and swim with the alligators. Then there's contrasting that, like travel advisor, we would probably not tell our client, okay, yeah, when you're down in New Orleans, go out to the Bayou and swim with the alligator. Would probably not be what we would be advising our clients. So they're drawing the contrast between AI and travel advisor. What benefit of a travel advisor is that way? And they'll be developing those along. These are just first 2 that they came up with. So what I've heard in the board is it's going to be a snowball. What they're hoping for is a snowball effect where they can just keep growing this thing, which will benefit all of us in the ASTA membership together. And it will all be tied into the VTA program. So all of these things interrelate. So they'll be driving back to why use a verified travel advisor? You want to look for here's where you look for a verified travel advisor. Their end goal is really to try to get all of the ASTA members VTA certified, which then sets you apart. Okay, how do you know who an ASTA member is? Well, they're the VTA. That's how you can tell. So that's what their hope is, to go towards that direction. So it all commingles together in terms of what national thought process is, this whole thing. And if you have questions, I'm certainly open to answer any here or individually. So
that's marketing. Thank you, Rob. Any questions on it so far? Cool. All right, last topic from CPC. This one's really quick. Elections. So this is an odd numbered year, so a whole bunch of positions are open at the national level, including Rob's. So the general ask here is 1 vote. If you are a dues-paying member of ASTA, you will get ballots by email. I will let you all know when it happens. We will put it in the newsletter, all that kind of stuff. Vote. So 6 directors at large positions are up for election this year at the national level. We have 1 position on the board that represents the IC community. That one is one of the ones that's up for renewal. So if you want to run for national board, talk to Rob. I'm not even going to volunteer for that. So talk to Rob, and he can tell you what it's like. And if you're an IC, that IC role is open. If you work for an agency, the criteria is you're the named representative for an agency, which I don't think applies to anyone on this board. So if you want the IC role, talk to Rob. And then when the ballots come out, please vote. Look at the candidate statements. I know the candidates send out too many emails. And that's something that headquarters is going to be addressing this year. But take a look at who those people are. You always get to meet some of these folks. I'm like, oh, I voted for you. They're all great. And then just so you all know, Rob, I don't want to make any announcements for you. Are you running again?
I'm considering.
Okay. But Rob this is Rob's 2 years as regional director is coming up, so he'll let us know if he's going to run again. The chapter presidents vote for that. So Rob, I'll give you my address for bribes. No, I'm kidding. All that fun stuff. So if you're interested, but the big ask is make sure you vote if you're a dues paying member. All right. That's a lot. I know. My CPC reviews are always like the entire meeting. Any questions on that? On anything we've talked about?
I would humbly ask, if I do run again and I am not reelected, that you humbly consider allowing me to stay on this board at a local level. So appreciate your consideration on that. Thank you.
Your position on this board is immediate past president, so that has nothing to do with your RD position.
Right.
So
cool.
You're still here. You're stuck.
Good.
We're spending $650 on your name badge. You cannot leave.
I like being stuck here. So.
All right. Let's set next meetings. For February and March, I will be traveling both of the third Wednesdays. So I would like to ask that our next meetings be on February 26th and March 26th. Does that work for the majority of folks?
February does for us. Rob and I will be out of town for the March one. We'll still be gone after the River Cruise Expo.
We can come remotely, Lisa.
Well, we can do remote in from Bulgaria or wherever we are, or Romania.
We called from a park bench in Epcot. We can call from wherever. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And Royal Caribbean ship last month.
That's true.
So these meetings are basically like you're the Rick Steves of the Rocky Mountain ASTA. Like where are we taking our board? All right, if there's no objections or significant problems, we'll call it the 26th of the next couple of months. And then I'm not even thinking about April yet. Yes, Lisa?
I just wanted to, with Trish, I just wanted to double check. So for the Poseidon, is it February? Will it be on February 18th?
Yep, let me double check. Yes, it is. And sorry, I don't have a time. I'll email it to you.
Yeah, email me the things and I can post it whenever.
Yeah,
Whenever
it
you
is on
send
the
it to me.
website.
Yeah.
Oh,
Trish
it is
got
on the
ticket-
website. Oh, okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, Trish got the ticket tailor stuff up, so I have it on the website.
Oh, cool.
I just got to take this month's stuff off, so it shows up at the top.
And Jeff, I'm going to give you encouragement. We're going to get a YPS person from Wyoming, because I was thinking about that in my head. Okay, the YPS person is going to be from Wyoming, and so I was thinking about that in my head. Yuri spoke up and said, "Well, the next YPS person is going to be from Wyoming." I'm like, "Okay, that's kind of interesting." She read my mind as I was thinking it. So,
It's going to happen.
and congratulations,
Well,
Yuri, on your
we'll
position.
try. Thank you.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to set meetings. Yudi, you and I will chat soon. Let's get something on the calendar to talk about Wyoming in general. And Darlene, if you are interested, want to talk more about being an official officer, so you can get free stuff. Let's reach out, send me an email. We'd love to have you on board. So.
Okay. Quick question, Jeff.
Yeah.
The AI for travel agent. Did you have that yesterday or the day before? Yeah, because I signed up for it and I was in it and nobody was there.
Really?
That's weird. We were there.
We were late, Darlene, because our meeting went over quite a bit. And so I think by the time we joined it, like quarter of, it was over by then.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
maybe.
quick.
Sorry.
It was recorded though, so we'll get the recordings out.
Great.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. If there's no other topics, we will adjourn. Thank you all, and have yourself a great month wherever you're going.
Thanks.
See you later.
Thanks, Jeff. See
Bye now.
everybody.
Stay warm.
Yeah.